Hello and welcome, everybody, to some Friday Night Insight. It is Alex McCarthy's Wrestling Daily, and unfortunately, I'm flanked by the worst half of the Wrestling Daily Quizzlemania team. Although you had your moments with your Austin bump. But in the clutch, where were you, Lou? Where were you when I knew you?
I've messaged you this privately, but I'll message you. I'll say this in front of the 27 people watching right now and the thousands that are going to be watching afterwards. I do apologize because I messed up. I'm actually going to read you these texts from my brother that came in during the show. That he will he care? Where is it? Why did you put WrestleMania 15 instead of WrestleMania 17? So stupid. Cost you the game. Also, Roman Reigns, when you previously mentioned Eve. Poor.
Why did you say Roman?
I don't know. Do you remember how you basically had to force Eve out of me?
That's exactly why I said it. I thought there's no way he's going to forget because... And for anyone watching this who doesn't know, it was basically like a Mr. and Mrs. thing, right? So I have to write down what the answer is that Lou is going to say, and you have to get them both to match. And the question was, who do they think is the most attractive wrestler in history or something like that? Yeah. And obviously, on Wrestling Daily just a matter of weeks ago, somebody ultra chatted us, super chat at the time, but ultra chatted us that very question, and he said Eve Torres. So I wrote down Eve Torres, and he put Roman Reigns. I messed up. I mean, he's bloody handsome, but come on!
I messed up. Who would you have said for that?
Ever. I think I said this when I got asked it as well. Trish, probably.
Yeah.
Prime Trish.
I was hoping it was you. And also, let's talk about this. I know our truth is your guilty pleasure.
Why should I be guilty about that?
No, but listen, some of the guilty pleasures people were doing, there was nothing wrong with. Like watching Hiroshi Tanahashi matches. How's that guilty pleasure?
Yeah, I don't that. So I didn't like that one. That kind of missed the boat. That's just things you enjoy. Exactly. What was yours again?
When they booked the same match over and over again. But to be fair, it should have been AEW's. I messed it up for the team.
That's not a guilty pleasure. That's your pet peeve. What was your guilty? What was your guilty?
No,
pleasure?
I didn't have guilty pleasure. Guilty pleasure was your one.
No, it was yours because I guess
you said the McMahon family on TV.
Maybe pet peeve was the AEW one that I went with. Then. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So one of the things I got wrong was Scott Steiner. His name just couldn't come to me for the life of it, and this moment has seemed to come down in Quizzlemania sort of folklore.
Have we got the actual clip of the moment on Quizzlemania?
We can't because it'll get us demonetized. It will get us demonetized because I did let out a large F-bomb. But
true.
I thought the only way to redeem myself. This was suggested by someone, I can't remember who, on Twitter, that I do the Scott Steiner math promo. So by the end of the show tonight, the final thing we will do, I will do the Scott Steiner math promo.
Do you know it by heart already?
No. I've got it in front of me.
You've got like for the quote unquote lyrics to the promo,
the script.
Oh dear, that's going to be a challenge to deliver that in Scott Steiner fashion. But we digress, guys. Thank you and welcome to the Wrestling Daily. We will recover. Wrestling Daily will rise again on Quizzlemania. We were that close, 3 points away. But you know,
we gave a good account for ourselves.
It was a good performance.
We did very well. Our charades. We were, I think, the only team to get 2 out of 2. So,
and we stole some points in some other rounds. Yeah. We were right up there. We made a large comeback because we had a deficit from the first round, and we made a sterling comeback. Unfortunately, not enough. But anyway, the Wrestling Daily. It's time for Friday Night Insight, and it's where you get your wrestling news. And unfortunately, because it's Thanksgiving, there really isn't that much news. But we will dive into what we have seen floating around and little tidbits for us to get into. And of course, guys, the crux of the show. We want to talk to you, our loyal viewers, our fans. We want you to tell us, give us your ultra chats, give us your comments.
I've actually seen here. This isn't an ultra chat, but it's very interesting from Ricky Bobby talking about Kenta. We will talk about this because I've actually got a bit of a interesting theory about Kenta. But yeah, get your ultra chats in if you want us to. If you want to dictate where the conversation goes.
Yeah, Steph Chase was very Kenta heavy on her chat yesterday. So, but as we say, get those ultra chats in and let's have some hot takes. Let's get debating. Let's get talking some wrestling on this Friday night. It has been brought to my attention that the podcasts haven't been updated this week. That's due to somebody being off and away. But alas, that will be fixed next week and you'll be able to catch up with anything that you've missed. I know that our numbers on pods have been doing pretty well and they've been surging. So we do apologize, but trust us, it will be back in due course. And as usual, the home of Wrestling Daily is Wrestle2. Please do subscribe and get those notifications on so you will never miss when Louis and I or Steph or SB3 are chopping it up. And on that note, SB3 is going to be in the chair next Tuesday. Not my good friend Louis Dangoor, because he is too big time to do twice a week now.
No, I'll still be doing twice a week. I can just do.
Not next week. Is what I'm saying.
I mean, we are having behind the scenes conversation. I thought I was doing Wednesday instead of SB3.
Is that right?
Was that not the plan?
Did you say
we shouldn't be having these conversations on screen? We'll figure this out later.
Hang on. Did you say that to me to switch with SB3?
I thought it was implied.
Implied how? Unless you ask. How could I possibly digress?
We'll figure this out.
How can I get that? Right.
We'll figure it out. But yeah, I won't be here
live production meetings on air. We may see Louis twice next week. Anyway, let's get into the titular story. That was fronting Wrestling Daily today. This shows how much news there is. Braun Strowman teases joining Retribution, Louis.
Yeah, so this is what I believe the kids call a stretch. So Braun Strowman has teased joining Retribution. He was obviously suspended by WWE, suspended obviously in kayfabe, which has sort of been reported maybe down to an injury. I think Dave Meltzer has reported that he's heard from one source. I couldn't verify it, so probably shouldn't have said it, but said he's heard from someone that Braun is actually injured, which is why he was written off TV. And in his absence, he's obviously playing up that he's not too happy with Adam Pearce, not general manager Adam Pearce, and tweeted, "Really? You're going to suspend me for what? Expecting what I've earned? Everyone and their brother knows what I've done to get here, and I've more than earned a title opportunity." Obviously, notice how he didn't say title shot after the last time he got in some trouble for saying that. To hell with this place and all the backstage politics. Bull S word. I'm done following orders. # everyone will fall. And that's interesting because that has been the sort of slogan that Dijakovic, or now T-Bar, was tweeting prior to joining Retribution. And that's what Retribution have been using on social media. So some have ascertained that Braun may be joining Retribution, and that may be a way to have him return. I guess we did see Retribution and Team Raw actually mix it up before Survivor Series, when on the Go Home show, actually Retribution beat all of Team Raw apart from AJ Styles. So potentially, could we be seeing Braun as part of Retribution? I don't think so, but that's about it. I think it would be something. It would be interesting, I guess, but I wouldn't. It probably isn't what I would do with Braun Strowman. It isn't what I mean, the group could probably do with it, but they could do with anything at this moment. So I do think it's definitely interesting that they're teasing it, potentially leading to something down the line. But I take it from your reaction, you really don't think it's something we're going to be seeing. No,
I sincerely doubt it. I get it why the tease or mention, because it kind of aligns remotely. But no, I don't think they're going to do that. Who knows? Retribution they've done everything in reverse order with Retribution. They had them lose like the first few weeks, and then they went, actually, maybe we'll take them seriously.
And then they're on main event this week.
As T-Bar said, they beat the Raw team, and now the Raw team are like, we're getting lined up for a title shot. So anyway, Braun Strowman, I think we've seen the Meltzer report. It looks like, should his knee be all right, he'll probably be heading for the title match at TLC. So there'll be lots of shenanigans like this in between, no doubt, just to get us there. But I wouldn't put too much stock into Braun Strowman heading up to Retribution. I'm just looking into the comments right now. There's a few I want to get into. Oh, my good friend Di Giovanni. I bet Alex's back is still hurt from carrying Nugget on Quizzlemania this week.
No,
I will say,
hang on. Undisputed era.
I will say, I had a stinker in the theme round. We came away with 3 points. I think I only actually grabbed one of them, and I think I cost us 2 of our lives. So, other than that round,
to be fair, right? Vince McMahon, I thought was he's got one of the most iconic themes in wrestling. I thought that was guaranteed.
I thought DX was nailed on.
To be fair, some of the answers that were given, you could tell the audience that was asked. But no, it was interesting. Put it that way. It was not. It was a fun round, but I think we both brought our plus points. I got Undisputed Era, which somehow the other group didn't get for the best faction. I was like, all right, it's definitely Undisputed Era. Definitely Undisputed Era.
I didn't even think of that, so that I credit you greatly there.
Yeah, I think it was, and I think because I am probably around the same age that people answering would like. I guarantee. If it wasn't for if it wasn't for AEW, the Four Horsemen wouldn't have been on that list. I don't think. Because I think just the fact that AEW is bringing it up they should be on the list, 100%. But I just don't think that age group thinks about things that way.
I don't know when you think Flair, but
potentially. Yeah.
Either way, moving through the comments. Alex looks like my uncle. Alex, are you my uncle? Jace, let's not rule anything out here.
People said you were my dad. That makes you really old.
Yeah, hang on a minute. A fine specimen of a father. I am actually a father, so come on, let's not.
But your girls are not 20 years old.
No, they're not. The eldest is 4, but still, nevertheless. Ricky Bobby says, "Sorry, Louis, I can't get the Ultra Chats to work. It asks me to create a username and keeps booting me out." Louis, do you have any on the spot help for Ricky trying to give an Ultra Chat?
I will tell you what I do whenever I have any Ultra Chat problems. That is, ask Mod Mother Jenna what is going on. So Mod Mother Lady Lou in the chat. If you've got an issue, just write what the issue is. I mean, Jenna will have seen it. Would you mind please helping this chap? It's been a smoother transition than many were expecting to Ultra Chats, but there are still some issues that we're trying to iron out. So we'll try and get that obviously read for you and sorted. Hopefully during the stream.
The wizard that is Jenna, I'm sure will sort all. And also, Carol One says, "Hello, stressed out person coming in to try and find a smile." Carol, come get a hug from your boy. I'm right here.
And me. The Scott Steiner promo is guaranteed to put smiles on faces.
There you go. You sound like a WWE veteran, Louis. Moving along, let's talk about some Ultra Chats, because we've got 2 in the chamber, and they are from some usual suspects, which is a great film, by the way. Matthew McCoskey. Hey, brother. How you doing? Thank you for joining us on this Friday. Hello, Alex and Louis.
I like this one, by the way. I've had a look, and I like this Super Chat. Ultra Chat.
All right, you peeping Tom. Wait there. I think the logical way that they'll approach this is do Roman and Jay versus Bryan and Owens, with Bryan pinning Jay, leading to Roman versus Bryan at the Rumble. The tag match would also be a TLC match in the main event. Matthew, I like your moxie there. I like your idea. Obviously, the tag the tag tease that Kevin Owens and Daniel Bryan did the other week on SmackDown, that had loads of us intrigued. And I think playing into there with their deep history on the indies and their rises to WWE, unlikely rises in many ways. I think that'd be awesome to put them together against Roman right now and Jay. And like you said, the story is kind of lending itself there. Jay and Bryan have split a match each. I don't know about you, Louis. I would love that. And that would, that would sort out the next couple of pay-per-views for Roman.
Yeah, and I think you could really play into that, having Roman lose, but do it in a way that Jay eats the pin in the tag match. So it's a loss, which elevates Kevin Owens and Daniel Bryan, but also puts over and continues the storyline with Jay and Roman. So it doesn't feel like a loss, because it feels like their characters are better off afterwards because of the continuation of the storyline, which I think could really work. And actually, there may be a little bit of something in your Ultra Chat and your idea, because while we're here, we may as well go on to the news about a Royal Rumble match being reported. As Dave Meltzer has said, Dave Meltzer said that Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns is very likely for Royal Rumble. It was apparently scheduled for TLC, but plans have changed, and that match is looking more likely for the Rumble now. I think we'll get a better idea on SmackDown tonight. But if that is the plan, I could definitely see potentially. I can't think of a better way to get to Roman and Daniel Bryan at the Royal Rumble, and a better way to transition and have both doing something meaningful at TLC than what you suggested. So I think there could be something into this.
And a good use of Kevin Owens, nonetheless, too, who does deserve to be used in a good spot. So we'll say yellow for now because there's some distance and plans, of course, could change. But I can very much believe and certainly suspect that Bryan is the direction anyway, because that's been the way it's been leading on TV prior to his little departure and since he's returned.
Although, was it just me? And I think I haven't seen a lot of people picking up on this. They seem to be teasing Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn on SmackDown last week with that backstage segment.
I think that's just maybe a continuation of
maybe
before he left and what they've been doing this year.
It just potentially, and obviously they have been feuding for a lot of it. Had that WrestleMania match. I know you weren't particularly happy with that WrestleMania match, just wanting sort of perhaps Bryan Danielson.
It just wasn't what it could have been. It's not that it was awful. It just could have been so much more. But yeah,
it's unfortunate. I know what you mean. I think it worked for the story, but it wasn't knowing the talent of the two involved. But yeah, I got the vibe they were potentially heading in that direction. It seemed like potentially they were having two kind of feuds for Daniel at the same time, which is quite refreshing. So, I like how AEW does that, where you've got like Eddie Kingston still sort of like having that backstage segment with Moxley, and Moxley then having with Omega, and Kingston also having that stuff with Pac, and then that stuff with Lance Archer. It seems like an actual world. Like, you don't just have interactions with one person in the real world. Like, you'll have an issue with one person and get on with another person, and an issue with another person. Like, it's real life. So I like how AEW does that, where you can be like a fleshed out character with multiple storylines going on, multiple feuds going on. So I hope that potentially that's something WWE does, where Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan can still have conflict on TV, but you've still got him feuding with Roman Reigns at the same time. So I do think that's exciting, and I hope that that's the avenue they take for. I actually think that that's probably the best avenue to take, as Matthew has suggested.
Yeah, I like it. I'm a big fan. Speaking of Matthew, wait, I don't get a hug. Man, you can have a hug. What is that? Is that my new gimmick? Am I the male Bailey? Come on.
In the middle of a pandemic, this is fantastic.
Yeah, let me get my mask, and I've got you. But Carol's first because she needed picking up. All right, so let's form an orderly queue for Wrestling Daily Hugs, and there's enough for everyone.
I've just speaking of Matthew, I'm excited for this. Next week, either Thursday or Friday, I'll be sending in a crazy ultra chat asking for Dreams War Games teams. I'd like to specifically ask you to do that on Friday because I'm on that show. And I like that super chat. So that almost guarantees that Matthew will send it in on Thursday now.
Yeah, of course. And I also want to mention this. A-Kid and Trent Seven was great. Yes, it was. A-Kid, by the way, congratulations. The first Spanish wrestler signed by WWE. And now the Heritage Cup champion. He's done really... that's what they said.
Kane.
Have you got a counter?
Kane.
He's a US citizen, though. Just because you're born somewhere.
So that used to be my favorite thing as a kid. I used to be when I was like 10, and I obviously all I used to do with my days was Wikipedia wrestlers. I used to be like, all right, you know where Kane's from? And he'd be like, American. I'd be like, no, Spain. But no, congratulations to A-Kid. The match was sensational. Great stuff. Another great NXT UK match, again without a crowd. I interviewed him before the show, but not before NXT UK restarted, and you could tell he's genuinely passionate. I don't know if you've seen it, but they had a lovely video released to WWE on Twitter yesterday with him and Mark Andrews just like rolling around, and not actually rolling around, but like grappling in the ring, just having almost like an interview while they did it. It was quite cool. And A-Kid spoke about his stuff with MMA, like how that helped him into wrestling. He seems like a fantastic wrestler. There could be a lot on the cards for him. So good for him. And very excited for him.
Uptown Avondale says, you were A-Kid last week, Louis.
I was.
He was a kid prior to this Tash. He was a kid, and now he's a man. God damn it!
On Wednesday's show, if I'm on Wednesday, the Tash will be gone. By the way,
if.
No,
yes. let me just say something for A-Kid, because the guy is crazy talented, and I know a lot of people think the world of him at NXT UK, particularly Shawn Michaels. I've heard that a few times, that Shawn is big on A-Kid, and I think if anyone watches the weekly show or has caught a lot of NXT UK since he really started, particularly 2020, he's been putting on fantastic matches. He really has. So he deserves it for all the work that he's put in. I think Trent Seven as well was like the perfect foil, because he's got so much invested in him and equity with the fan base. You know, he's one of the bigger names in NXT UK, but he's kind of more famed for the tag wrestling. So there was that. You want him to get his solo bit too, and A-Kid had to overcome that. So I really think it was well done. I'm really pleased for him, because I do think NXT UK, the more they can show out like this and the more talent people are aware of, hopefully people will be drawn to the product. And you've seen that this week, right? Like Toni Storm now popping up in NXT UK. The grizzled young veterans have popped up. And by the way, if anyone hasn't actually watched them yet, they put on bangers. That's what they do. So get prepared. On TakeOver, they will drop bangers.
And Zach Gibson's a Liverpool fan.
Your interruption levels are extremely high, Lou.
But he's a Liverpool fan.
I mean, he is. I was about to put on a Liverpool accent there, and I bottled it.
Don't do it. Bottled it hard. While we're talking about Trent Seven, should we segue into another bit of news? We are the segue show tonight. I'll tell you why I'm interrupting you, by the way. You are. I don't know if it's my internet or your internet. You're a little bit behind for me. So
am I?
You stopped talking, like facially, and then you continue talking. So I'm very confused.
Can anyone in the comments let us know if Louis is making up lies?
Who's got the internet problems? If it's not, it's me. But Tyler Bate, are you talking now? No, good. Tyler Bate has reportedly done some soul searching recently.
Yeah, I see this.
According to Trent Seven.
Trent Seven talking about an interview, right?
Yeah, so Tyler Bate hasn't been seen on TV for a while. And speaking with Spoof Wrestling, Trent said he basically spoke about Tyler Bate, his tag team partner, and I think like a bit of like a mentor for him. Obviously, Tyler's been Trent's been an on-screen and off-screen mentor for Tyler. So he said that he had to do a lot of soul searching. And when you think about it, this guy was a 19-year-old champion. He came into fame really early and like came to the top of the NXT, and there was a lot of weight put on his shoulders. So I think potentially like he's had to take some time away to, I don't want to say find himself because it sounds quite cliche, but find himself. Like COVID's been tough on all of us. So maybe he has just taken some time away to focus on things, particularly with what happened with NXT UK and a lot of the people within NXT UK and Brit Rest. I think potentially just took some time away, and that seems what Trent has alluded to. So hopefully we get to see Tyler Bate back on our screens before too long, and he is doing all right, because I mean he is probably has the potential to be a top star. He is freakishly strong, has a great look. He's so young. He's 23. I mean, he is like, when people talk about Jungle Boy and MJF being young, I think Tyler Bate could be WWE's version of that. So hopefully he's doing okay and we can see him back before too long. But ultimately, mainly for him, hopefully he's healthy and happy.
A few points on Tyler. One, his only problem in WWE world is his size. That is it. Other than that, he's got everything you could hope for. And Triple H obviously sees past that. Would Vince McMahon? That's your only question. I know I reached out to WWE and spoke to a few people a few weeks ago when these questions were really coming up. And I know he is under contract with WWE. He hasn't left or anything like that. It's just a case of a sabbatical. For what reason? I don't know. I've trained with Tyler Bate before. I trained with British Strong Style at the UK PC. And my God, he's an animal in the gym. Like you said, he is freakishly strong, super nice guy. He's very, very spiritual. That's the best way I would describe him. Like, if you follow him on Instagram, you'll see what I mean. He's a very spiritual character. And it seems from what Trent has said that that's kind of what he's been doing this year. He's been taking time to, rediscover himself. And like you said, he's been pretty much locked in to what he's doing since a teenager. Maybe this was the perfect time to actually hit the reset button a little bit and, let him go. I just think, as far as I've said this before, I feel like right now he's like top 5, top 10 wrestlers in WWE. I honestly think that in terms of putting on matches, technique, how he, I haven't seen him have a bad match ever. I'd love to see Tyler Bate and Daniel Bryan. Love to see that. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I will say no to top 10 purely because of just how, like, let's think about it, how amazingly stacked the roster is. Like, I mean, Adam Cole, like people like Adam, I mean, this is just part of a wider point about how stacked the roster is. Like Adam Cole, Daniel Bryan, Cesaro, everyone. Like the roster is so stacked. He's in
that bracket.
He probably could be.
You put him on that roster tomorrow, and he slots in lovely. I'm telling you that. You put him there tomorrow, he'd be having bangers.
I don't know.
Great TV matches every week. I believe in Tyler Bate super, super high.
Yeah, I mean, he to be honest, as I was saying it, I was like, you know what, he probably is in that bracket. I mean, I haven't seen him cut many promos. Is he?
He's got Trent
on them. Yeah,
well, that was kind of.
I've interviewed him before, and he's charismatic as hell and just a great talker. So, I mean, that is potentially something that that Tyler could be working on when he returns, his promo game.
We know that there's and this is the thing, right? There's a difference between. I just said this, right? When I was in the gym with Tyler, he's a really fun, nice guy. And I haven't seen much of that on TV. And sometimes there's a big difference or a disconnect between who they are and personality. Like loads of people say Lance Storm's got a great personality, but you never really saw it on TV.
I called him boring on Quizlemania. That was good to you.
And that's what I mean. Like you look at Tyler Bate, but he's been partnered with Trent Seven. You're going to play to your strong suits, and it's going to predominantly be Trent Seven. So I don't think it's that he can't do it, but is he a natural like Trent Seven? Probably not.
Yeah, probably. Like, I mean, he's got incredible, like his charisma in the ring in terms of like that airplane spin is incredible. His strength. To be honest, you put those two in front, like with half the WWE roster, and I'd be so. So I would
listen to this. Listen to this. Tyler Bate. If you put Tyler Bate in the ring with Braun Strowman next week, it'd be the best match Braun Strowman ever had. I'm telling you.
I really enjoyed the stuff with Roman and Braun. I really did.
Tyler Bate, any big man. I am telling you now, any big man, he can make him. He can make him have the best match they've ever had.
Yeah, probably. And I mean, I was at Progress show last September, and it was a match between Mustache Mountain and Matt Riddle and Keith Lee.
Yes.
The first 5 minutes of the match was just stare-offs and pose-downs, like a pose-off. And like the charisma just coming out the ring. Like you could see that side of him, which he probably isn't allowed to show in WWE. So hopefully that starts up again. And I mean, if anyone did want to take a break, now would probably be the best time with no fans there. No takeover. I believe the takeover's been postponed till June. Am I right in saying that? So he has got time.
On that, just before you finish, I was told by Triple H on the record and other people off it that they are looking to do takeovers before that, and it likely would be at BT Studios, but the Irish, the Dublin card is moved back to June. I expect them to cram in a couple before then.
Yeah, it'll probably be like like another no fan show. Like I presume that Dublin may be the first big takeover show with fans, hopefully. So I mean, there isn't another sort of big show like that planned anyway. Not planned, but announced for 7 months. So if he wanted to take time off, obviously, to do some soul searching, find himself, then probably now's the best time. So obviously we give our best to Tyler Bate, and hopefully he's doing all right. That's the main thing. This year's been tough on a lot of people. So hopefully he's doing all right.
Absolutely. Let's segue back then. We're at the halfway point already, Louis. How has that happened? Let's segue back to the Ultra Chats because we've got 2 in the chamber. And remember, guys, it's the best part of the show. And Bo Hill is just about to hit us with a tremendous one. So please do make sure you give us your Ultra Chats that me and Louis can discuss on this show. So Bo Hill, Egg Benedict himself, you get to do a cross-promotion pay-per-view. What would be your top men's, tags, and women's match? I'd have 3 triple threat matches: men's, Tanahashi, Okada, Daniel Bryan. Oh, I can just hear the internet collectively drool at that match. The tag team match would be the Bucks, Golden Lovers, and FTR. Jesus Christ. And women, Io, Oscar, and Kairi Sane. I mean, nobody could argue with that. Wow, that's a hard card to match. Jeez.
Let's try. Let's try.
I get it though, the singles one, like why you've gone in that direction. And I'm just thinking top of the cards of the promotions and who I would really want. Are we sticking with the triple threat format?
Yeah, I mean, it can be, it cannot. They haven't specified. I don't think Burhill specified. I think he just said
Goldberg will not be on my card. Okay,
let's block this individual. Block this individual from the chat.
How dare you? Okay, I'm gonna
have Kenny Omega.
Kenny is the. I'm just thinking. There's a whole host of guys that I would want to have Kenny Omega, but I'm saving him for my tag.
Oh, okay.
I will come back to that.
I'm gonna have for my men's Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, for my men, yeah, okay, fine. Kenny Omega, Daniel Bryan.
Right. It's got to be.
And I think I'm actually just going to have a singles between those two. I think those two in the singles would just tear the house down.
They would tear it up.
Yeah, I think those two. Or Ishii versus Brock Lesnar. Because I think that would just be... Or Minoru Suzuki, Brock Lesnar.
I could get on board with Suzuki and Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I think that would be fun.
I'm thinking of anyone that I'd like to see in AEW face Brock Lesnar.
Kenny could be fun, I presume like a Daniel Bryan style match like we saw at Survivor Series, which was really good.
I think, man, it's hard. I'm gonna say Lesnar, Cody. Because I think Cody's an amazing babyface. I don't know if that'd be my all-time singles. I'm just trying to put this card together. So I think I don't know if I'd add anyone else to that match, but I do like the premise of Cody proving WWE should never have let him go by taking out the underdog against their biggest draw. Anyway, my tag, and I'm stretching the rules here, would be Kenny and the Bucks versus a United Shield with Moxley. I've done it.
Oh,
that's got to be it. That's got to be it.
No. You can't have people from different. I mean, to be fair, this person's got golden lovers. So to be fair, you can have your interpromotional. Exactly. I'm not even gonna.
Moxley inserted in the Shield. Thank you. It's done. It's done.
Okay, I'm gonna have that. Okay, instead of that, I'm actually gonna have New Day versus the Elite.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
I can't copy yours. And then in terms of a women's match, I would probably there's nothing I'd rather see than Io, Asuka, and Kairi right now.
Yeah, I would. Once upon a time, I would have said Tessa and Charlotte, just because there's so much you could do with it, and I do think the in-ring product would be amazing too. But I honestly can't look past. I mean, could you make it a fatal four-way and get Kairi in there as well? Like,
you mean Shida? Did they say Shida? Did we say Shida?
No, I didn't say Shida. I said Kairi Sane.
No, yes, but you said make it a four-way. But the super chat is Io, Asuka, and Kairi.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know. For some reason, my mind went blank there. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Shida would
make it. I tell you what, make it a four-way, and we'll have Shida in there. Listen, I know people are going to assume we are just saying that because they are 4 Japanese wrestlers, but no, they are legitimately probably the 4.
Andy Datson, get out! Scram! Amscray, hit the bricks.
Hang on, to be fair,
in this stream,
can Sonny be the special guest referee?
I refuse to believe you've ever seen a clip of Sonny and the Smoking Guns. I refuse it. God damn.
Fair, they were a tag team before he was alive. But listen, we will move on from that. But yes, Get it off. But it's too upsetting for me. But
no, congratulations though, Andy and Tempest.
Yeah,
even though I'm very bitter, but congratulations.
No, he is very bitter. And yeah, I mean Kairi, Io, Asuka, and Hikaru Shida would be really cool. I mean, yeah, that I'd love to see that.
Yeah, man, that's a good. Bo Hill, you're really good at those. The hypotheticals and the theoreticals.
Yeah,
I like them very much. Keep them coming. I do like them. Let's move on to Matty.
We do like fantasy booking as wrestling fans. We love to play or book these matches. Yeah,
I think I'd have been extremely happy with Bo's card. I just would have changed the tag. That's the only one I would have changed. And I would have gone with
his tag would still be really good. To be fair.
Yeah. It's not as if you're not gonna lose anything with that. Anyway, Matty the Hot Scots in the house. How you doing, Egged Benedict Matty? Hey, Alex and Louis. Hope you've had a good week. It's been all right, mate. It's been all right. I've been writing essays all week. I'm looking forward to SmackDown tonight. Hopefully, Alex will forgive Louis after tonight. Once COVID is done, there should be a good egg meetup. Enjoy the show tonight. Thank you, Matty. Thank you very much. I'm sure, man. I've said this before, Lou. I can't wait until there are live shows again. I want to take my radio show live somewhere at an event. I'd love to have fans come and be a part of that. And yeah, I can't wait to give out, not just these virtual hugs. I want to get my mitts on people at shows and love again. I miss it. I miss it.
Sounds dodgy, but never mind.
My mitts.
My aim for 2021 is to have a live wrestling daily show at one point with you and I, either before a show, before a bit of a preview. It's a goal that hopefully we will see as a reality in 2021.
Just to clear up some stuff going on in the comments, Matty, I'm pretty sure Andy was joking as well, my friend. Don't worry. Yeah. Don't worry.
Andy's sarcasm is often very hard to ascertain, but he is Andy will not take it to heart. No worries. But I think people might be surprised. You and I have never met.
No, in the flesh. Interesting story, actually, was before. God, it seems like a lifetime ago now, but Louis was actually going to come and do work experience for me at TalkSport. This is it was going to be this summer, wasn't it?
March.
It was going to be March. Oh, yeah, it got cancelled last minute. Sorry. So, yeah, I was going to have 3 guys come in and Louis was going to be one of them. And now, look how far along little Nougat has come in that short space of time.
And actually, I did work experience with TalkSport in the summer, and summer of 2019. I think that was your week off or you were working from home. So we have our paths have never crossed. I've met your radio show host, Will. Gavin, I've met him at Progress shows and I actually met him at TalkSport. He was doing some radio stuff. So, yeah, I think we will hopefully have a 2021 meetup, whether that's at a UK show or a show in the States that you and I are both at. But, yeah.
Have you ever done a show in the States yet?
Mate, no, I couldn't have. I wouldn't. No, of course not. Couldn't have. No, listen, honestly,
you've got a lot to look forward to. The weeks.
I was hoping for SummerSlam.
The best things of the US shows for me are the whole atmosphere of the cities, the whole days around it. Do you know what I mean? Honestly, you go for the nights out in Orlando and New York. So it's amazing.
Issue is, hypothetically, say I go for Mania 21.
Well, you're 21, are you?
I won't be 21.
You young thing.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's probably why I haven't been to the States.
I do intend not allowed to. I mean, whenever AEW US or WWE are back in the UK, I very much intend to be at the shows, and hopefully, I will see a lot of you there. I really hope so because I miss it so much.
Can you take me with you?
I will take you as my son. Yes.
Right.
But you have to
sounds good to me.
You have to obey your father, damn it. Anyway, guys, that is the last Ultra Chat for now. So if you would like your opinion shared, please do make sure you get them sent into our lovely mods and we will get debating. Louis, there's not much else in terms of news going on at the moment, but there are some little tidbits flying around. And I think scraps Roman Reigns Universal Championship plans.
So, do you remember Wobbly Walrus?
But as in Paul Heyman in the Firefly Funhouse, sure.
Yeah, so we've seen that once and never again. So there were reportedly plans to have follow. So Hell in a Cell was going to be a 4-way, apparently, for the Universal title, featuring Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt, and another person, potentially Jey Uso, although that's not clear. And that was going to spread off into a Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt feud. However, the reported, so there's been reported scrap news that the puppet was clearly meant to be a mock of Paul Heyman, Roman's manager. So with them deciding not to do the match, it didn't make much sense to have it there. Meltzer wrote that the forces in WWE who are working to protect Roman Reigns from bad booking, and they figured that having a feud with Bray Wyatt wasn't the best idea.
I mean, they say it's not, come on.
No, to be fair.
What a glaring indictment, though, for Wyatt. Do you know what I mean? Like, ooh, better not book him with him because that's going to kill you.
No, but I think that we've discussed, I think it was on the Tuesday show, with the stuff around the title and how WWE, they have struggled so far to book the Fiend when they get themselves into a tight corner. And often that tight corner revolves around titles. So while you do want to work with creative people, and I think Bray Wyatt would be a dream to work with, he seems like an incredibly creative person. Yeah. I do believe this report, and I think that there could be something in it that WWE is realizing it might not work between those two in terms of the best for both parties involved. And I think at this time with Roman's character, definitely and it still is in its infancy. It's only sort of 3 months in. I think it's probably for the best that the decision was not made to have the feud, especially so soon. I think that that's definitely a right call by the powers that be.
And there we go then. A green BSometer for that report. It does seem like they were heading in that direction originally. And of course, we do know that the Jey Uso told me this himself, the feud wasn't meant to go past the first pay-per-view. And now look where they are. They're aligned and everything. So you can tell that Roman's plans have changed, and for the better probably, because it's been going so damn well. It's the best in the business, in my humble opinion right now. Best storyline, best character. So let's see where all of that plays out. Lou, another bit of news. Man, there's some great news on documentaries lately. Vince McMahon is going to be happening. Stone Cold Steve Austin, linking up with some great producers. But China apparently now is not.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, Dark Side of the Ring, which is, I think, if you want honest reporting of wrestling and some of the, as it states in the name. No, but I mean, okay, listen, WWE documentaries are fantastic. They are brilliant.
They're a bit slanted.
But they are, and I don't want to say North Korean levels of propaganda.
Yeah.
But it's up there. I mean, it is very much the WWE side of the story. I mean, according to WWE, they changed their name to WWE from WWF because off their own backs, not a decision that was brought on by the Panda people.
Yeah, I remember watching the Ruthless Aggression documentary, and they were, yeah, we felt like we needed time for a change. No, you didn't. You
got sued.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want honest and frank, basically details about some of the topics in wrestling that are very hard to talk about. They talk about Chris Benoit's death, and sort of suicide and murder of his obviously double murder suicide. They've spoken about what else have they done so far? Owen Hart's death.
That
the
was
Montreal Screwjob.
Terrible, the Owen Hart one. I completely reevaluated many of my thoughts after watching that. So I implore anybody watching this right now, make sure
clarify what you mean by terrible, because I think people might take that out of context and you didn't like the documentary.
I'm going to, but you're doing it again. Give me a chance, man.
I know YouTube, right? People are going to be, you guys are praising the Dark Side of the Ring, but Alex just said he hated it. So please.
Well, it was terrible in the sense that, I just told you, it made me reevaluate everything. It made me, I shed a tear, man. It was awful to see his family so cut up. And I've been one of them guys who for so long was like, man, Owen Hart's got to be in the Hall of Fame. Man, like, why isn't he in there? And when I went to one of the, I can't remember what Hall of Fame it was now, but I was there when Mark Henry got inducted. I want to say 2018. And again, like, he broke down crying about, saying, Martha, let Owen in. And I was like, just let him in, because we all love Owen Hart. What a career he had, right? And I'm thinking to myself, what's the harm in letting the fans celebrate and appreciate him? But I understand why Martha has the view that she has now after watching that documentary. So I think that people, if they ever want to understand that viewpoint and the reason that, and the very valid reason she has to be upset, and upset's not the fitting word, but that's all I've got for you right now.
Yeah.
Definitely watch that. And the same with Chris Benoit. I was such a huge Chris Benoit fan back in the day. Like, of his work, I was like, you watch this documentary, nobody thought he had it in him. And then, oh my word, that's nothing can describe the heinous things that went down on that weekend. So I think, the Dark Side of the Ring has done some tremendous work in that regard with exploring those darker characters. But why isn't China getting the same love, Lou?
Yeah, so let me just get the story up, because it is actually quite interesting, and it seems like although we might not be getting a Dark Side of the Ring documentary from regarding China, there is going to be some regarding other documentaries regarding China. So we know that Dark Side of the Ring won't be covering China. Wrestling Inc. is reporting the idea for an episode regarding the former WWE Women's Champion was nixed. The show is currently in pre-production for its third season, and China's friend Anthony Anzaldo was in a dispute with Vice over the rights to footage involving him. However, Dark Side of the Ring producer released this statement regarding the potential episode. There are no plans for an episode about China for the upcoming season of Dark Side of the Ring. At the start of pre-production earlier this year, we became aware of multiple projects that were currently in production about China, and thus we decided against pursuing this as a future subject. So, looks like while we may not have China, a Dark Side of the Ring episode featuring China, we could have another series of documentaries, which I don't think have been announced yet, probably not from the WWE Network, that will be focused around China. And I mean, her story is incredibly interesting. Obviously, part of the Hall of Fame now, but with DX, so not really recognized on her own just yet. But I mean, if you talk about the impact on women's wrestling of a character, obviously left WWE and things happened after that. And but I mean, in terms of her impact on the ring, she was a freak of nature. I mean, I remember a Quizlemania question, actually. I think this was the second to last episode. And Adam said, who was the first woman eliminated from the Royal Rumble? And people are going, who was that in 2018? Who was the first woman eliminated? And then I think Sean said, no, it'd be China. And then I think you think she was in those mixing up with the men and didn't feel out of place because of the impact she had, her physical stature, how she was presented. I mean, there are even plans to have her win the WWE Championship. And still to this day, there hasn't been, obviously reported plans. There hasn't been a woman hold the WWE title yet. So, I mean, it would have been very interesting to see. But hopefully we'll see some more documentaries potentially from some other people coming to light. And I mean, I'm very excited in a, I don't want to say a dark way, but these topics are very interesting to talk about, and we don't see them spoken about. And actually, I'm doing a dissertation at the moment for university on wrestling. Of course, I've somehow managed to make my dissertation about wrestling. And the fact there's no governing body in wrestling and the impacts that has. This is obviously not a project linked to WrestleTalk. It's a university one. And a lot of my research has been, along with journal articles linked, has been Dark Side of the Ring, because obviously they talk about the topics that aren't necessarily spoken about by a lot of people. So, I mean, it's obviously a fantastic series. And I mean, as Alex has said, and as I've said, definitely worth your watching if you're into that kind of thing and want to hear more about some of the sides of wrestling that potentially don't get spoken about a lot for obviously reasons that we know.
China is the definition of groundbreaking and trailblazing. You know, she did things for women's wrestling that really no one had done before her, and you could argue since, like, you know, the closest thing to China is probably like Beth Phoenix, I guess, but China was way ahead of her time. She broke down so many barriers, and you know, just thinking about Dark Side of the Ring as well, man, like thinking back to that Benoit episode, there's a whole part where Eddie Guerrero dies, and they talk to Chavo Guerrero, and he literally tells you, it's actually making me a little bit upset thinking about it. Like, he gives you the first, because he like dies in his arms and explains what it was all like. Honestly, if you have any interest in those sides of wrestling and what really happened and stuff, nothing better than getting those first-hand accounts of what went down. Lou, tonight is SmackDown, and we're only 3 weeks away from the pay-per-view, I believe. Is it 3 weekends?
Yeah.
Right.
20th. So yeah, it would be.
Yep. So
3 weeks Sunday.
At the moment, of course, we're still kind of getting over Survivor Series. So the fallout tonight will be, Jay, he fell in line. He did what he had to do for Roman on Sunday. That's got to be obviously something to move forward. We touched on this earlier with the Ultra Chat and Daniel Bryan and what he could potentially play into that. But it's interesting to think, what's next? TLC, you were saying the other day, Nia Jax and Lana tables match seems obvious. What about SmackDown, though? What have they got that's coming up? Because we've said Sami Zayn's next challenger isn't that apparent. And let me say this, Big E needs an opportunity to show out because they're stalling a little bit with him on pay-per-view.
Yeah, I'm really not sure where the direction is going to go. And that's quite interesting in a sense that, SmackDown has, since the return of Roman Reigns, and I think we said this on a show, really earned our trust back because it has been a fantastic show with good storylines, good wrestling. I think we obviously know that Carmella and Sasha Banks is likely. Potentially.
One second. I just want to bring this to the attention of the mods because Carol One says that
I think
through. I can't see it in the list, so I don't know whether Jenna can hook that up and try and get it in before the end of the show.
With it. I think Jenna's dealing with it in the chat I've seen. But yeah, if you got any issues, let Jenna know in the chat.
Jenna's
but yeah,
the woman. Go on, go for it.
Yeah, she is. She really is these shows wouldn't be possible without Jenna. So thank you very much, Jenna and Mod Mother. So we've obviously got Sasha Banks, Carmella, potentially Bailey in that mix as well for a 3-way. It seems like they're still spinning that plate. So that'd be interesting. Fallout from Bianca Belair. She was put over quite strong. I'd quite like a singles feud between Bianca and Bailey. That'd be quite nice as a bit of a non-title feud.
Yes.
Obviously, Street Profits won, so they're on a bit of momentum in terms of tag teams for them to face. You've got Rude and Ziggler, who they didn't pin in that 8-man tag last week. So potentially that's the direction. I think a quite cool direction would be Murphy and Ray or Murphy and Dominic. I think that'd be quite cool if you've got those two.
You do Ray and Dominic if you're going to do it.
Yes and no.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. And then maybe you can have Murphy, who's, let's not forget, fresh off a win off Seth Rollins. You could have Murphy and Sami Zayn, maybe.
You could, and that match would bang as well, by the way. You know, I agree with everything you've just said. I'm interested, though, there's guys like Chad Gable. What's his next step? He's kind of been aligning with Otis, maybe that's the IC title. People kind of saying, well, maybe Big E would be a good challenger for Sami Zayn. But no, lest we forget, Big E has been the IC champ. And I get it that people think, that's the next step sometimes to the world title. But is it anymore? When was the last time it really was the gateway to being the champion next? It's been a long time, right? So I think for Big E, you're either pushing him to the top and you want him in that top feud, or you don't. And it's fine. I get it. It's too early, maybe, if that's your WrestleMania destination, which it may well be. And he might win the Rumble and all of this stuff. Cool. But you do need to kind of keep him ticking along. And I don't think Survivor Series was good enough, in my opinion, in relation to the treatment of Big E.
Yeah, he kind of made the New Day farewell, which was fantastic. Really redundant. Really redundant. But I don't know with Big E, man. I think that I could see him. Okay, I'll tell you what. I will remember this episode. So it's the November 27th. Let's say it now.
Yeah.
Do we get Roman Rock at Mania?
Well, I want it. That's not the question.
We all want it.
Yeah. You know what? They haven't even confirmed that WrestleMania is moving to Tampa yet. Right? That seemed like a nailed-on report. And I remember reaching out to WWE at the time and they were like, we got nothing to say on this. And I was thinking, because normally they would fold in that situation and be like, well, everyone knows. So it's interesting. They could still be aiming for Hollywood, is my point, right?
Yeah.
And if this vaccine comes into effect in the next month, 2 months, 3 months, all of a sudden, that looks more realistic that Rock and Roman really is happening. So I think I still think that's the plan. I can't imagine this story unfolding any other way, with any other destination in mind. It doesn't, as great as Big E and Roman would be, I don't see you doing the whole head of the table stuff without the direction of. It's just natural, right? It would be Rock and Roman, the time frame to Mania. It all makes sense. I think it's the circumstances around it that makes it all doubtful. We're like, well, if they move it to Tampa, is it as attractive? If COVID's still going, if they can't have a full arena of fans, do you roll out the Rock for that? There's a whole load of things that make it doubtful. But I do think in the way things have gone down in the last 2 or 3 weeks, all of a sudden it's spun back in the favor of The Rock appearing.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of both of those things, Rock appearing and going to, obviously not with Tampa, I think because things are so up in the air at the moment with COVID and the vaccine, we're not sure.
Hi, Bella Queen. We're talking to you right now.
Hi, Bella Queen. But yeah, I think because things are so up in the air right now with COVID that no plans are nailed on, whether it's location or Rock, because a lot of his movie schedule, I presume, which has been the issue with WWE before, depends on COVID. So hopefully, I think there is no bigger match WWE could book right now. I don't think at all, apart from Roman Reigns. And,
it's the only generational match they've got a la Rock Hogan. It's like the only thing they've got in this generation that is remotely like that. And I also think the difference between, when Rock got hurt filming Hercules and it really set him back and all of that stuff, the difference now is the vast majority of his films go through his own production company, $7. So in theory, he has a say in when production and all of this stuff starts. Don't get me wrong, it costs money to delay and move and shift. But in theory, if he wanted to make a window for himself, it's much easier for him to do that now than it once was.
Yeah. And I mean, in terms of that, 100% agree. The only thing is, would he do it in front of no fans or limited fans? I don't think so. And I don't think WWE should do it then. I think they should wait as long as possible until fans are there. So I personally don't think we're going to see it at WrestleMania. I hope we do, and if not, I think Big E could be fantastic. I think if you start building him up now until basically do a mirror of what they did with Drew, where he was being built up around this time, he started picking up wins, going on that sort of babyface run when he started counting down to the Claymore. I think that it could be really good to see that, and I hope that if Rock isn't the direction, that's what we go for. Or if Drew drops the title, Roman and Drew, and then Drew beats Roman. I think that'd be cool. They have great chemistry. So yeah, that'd be cool to see. I think they got a lot of options. And as we approach Royal Rumble, which is only 6 weeks, no, not 6 weeks, 2 months away. Only 2 months away now, which, I mean, feels like nothing. So, I think as we approach Royal Rumble, things will start becoming clear with the Rumble winner and things like that. So, it's interesting nonetheless.
We've got 2 more things to do before the end of this show. 1 is an Ultra Chat from Super Carol Ones, and 2 is the Scott Steiner promo from Louis Dangoor. So let's do the Ultra Chat first. Carol Ones, thank you for the hug, Alex. I really needed it. Anytime, Carol. My arms are aloft. What do you think is next for Moxley once he loses the belt to Omega? I don't see any feuds for him that haven't been done yet. Love you all here. This is the highlight of my day. Carol. You've got us. You've got us right there, right in the heart. I do think Moxley's losing to Omega. Further to your comment, I do think he is. And after that, I mean, you're right. He's run through a few people. But of course, you can always do a bit of a character adjustment. It depends if you want to keep him babyface or not. Maybe him and Hangman Page work together to see who gets the shot at Omega next. Cody and Moxley haven't done anything yet. Moxley and MJF obviously had the title thing in the summer, but that felt like the first chapter. Now he's in the inner circle. Could be further along. There's a lot of different stuff that they could do. Even Taz now, with the collection that he has going after Moxley, could be kind of fresh. Did Lance Archer ever really get his shot at Moxley? I mean, he did, but it was obviously all kind of mucked around and whatnot. They didn't really get to tell the story they wanted to. And we know that those two can do much more if you've ever seen what they did in New Japan. So for me, there are a lot of things they could do there. I would, and this is off the press, I would give a tag title run to Eddie Kingston and John Moxley. And I know that they are kind of, and Moxley, Kingston's doing his own thing right now and is in there with Puck and whatnot. I would love to see these two hardcore brutes just team up and kick the crap out of everyone.
Yeah, I think that's exciting, but for me, it's got to be Hangman Page. I think it comes out that Hangman was the person to attack Moxley, and I think that's the avenue you go down with. Sort of Hangman trying to get back into Kenny's good books and salvage that friendship, and then you have that feud between Kenny and Moxley sort of spill over, and be Hangman and Moxley, and that's sort of the way you go. Potentially even a 3-way at Revolution in February. Have Kenny, Moxley, and Hangman. So sort of keep the Kenny and Hangman plate spinning, and then the Moxley plate spinning with those two. I think that would be the best thing to do for me, anyway.
Well, speaking of the best thing to do, let's get Louis Dangoor. First of all, thank you, Carol, for that wonderful Ultra Chat. Let's get Louis Dangoor into promo mode. Look, what are you doing? You going shirtless?
Oh, don't be stupid, no. I've seen Uptown Avondale. I've seen Uptown Avondale in the chat talking about how I was showing too much chest on Quizlemania.
Listen, are you going to be Steiner or not? Where's the head link? I want it all.
Sorry, I haven't got a head link to hand.
King Arthur style.
I could put some pajama bottoms on my head.
Why? Why would you do that?
They look slightly like chain link. All right, okay.
What pajama bottoms have you got that looks like chain link? Show me.
They're just like...
What sordid things are going on in the Dangoor household? They don't look like... What is that? They're just... Oh, my word. Okay. I'm getting Quizlemania flashbacks now.
Right, okay. Let me just say this promo, right? Get it up. Right. You know they say all men are created equal, but you look at me and you look at Samoa Joe and you see that statement is not true. See, normally if you go in a one-on-one match with another wrestler, you got a 50-50 chance of winning. But I'm a genetic freak, and I'm not normal. So you got a 25% chance at best at beating me. And then you add Kurt Angle to the mix. The chances of winning drastically go down. See, the three-way at Sacrifice, you got a 33 and a third chance of winning. But I got 66 and 2/3 chance of winning because Kurt Angle knows he can't beat me, and he's not even going to try. So Samoa Joe, you take your 33 and a third chance minus my 25% chance, and you got 8 and a third chance of winning at Sacrifice. But then you take my 75% chance of winning if we was to go one-on-one, and then you add 66 and 2/3, and I got a 141 2/3 chance of winning at Sacrifice. Senior Joe, the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you at Sacrifice.
All right, Lou. All right, I'll give you A for effort. That much I'll give you. Although you are much more polished than Scott Steiner might have said that, because at Sacrifice.
Listen, Carol said Louis reading from his screen. What do you expect? Yeah, I tell you what, if anyone can memorize that promo and send it to us, proving that they're not looking at the screen. If anyone can memorize that promo, I will be very impressed. So Alex, listen, that is my apology to you.
Okay.
For Quizlemania.
Kudos for making it happen. I don't know what else to tell you, but it was a good effort. That much I'll give you. I feel like that's a good place to wrap this show. So thank you very much, guys, for joining us again on this Friday night edition of the Wrestling Daily. You've been great all week. I thank you so much. My favorite part of the day is speaking to all of you and you getting involved in our show. Some apologies. I don't know what's been going on with PayPal tonight, but I know the Ultra Chats, there's been a small issue. So hopefully next week we can avert those and we'll all be back to normal, having the show that we love. Lou, anything to say before we wrap up?
No, thank you very much. Well, I said no and then went on to say something. But yeah, thank you very much for obviously all of your comments, super chat, ultra chats, and interaction this week. As we say almost every week, it's probably the most fun that I have doing a show. I love being here with Alex doing the show. I love watching it even with Steph and SP3. So thank you guys, and obviously we'll be back next week with the usual 4 shows. With guests, obviously, the dates of which to be determined. I think Alex and I will chat about that after this. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone, and hope you all had a good Thanksgiving. and an even better weekend.
And thank you so much for being the good eggs that you are that make this show. We will be back on Tuesday. I'll be with SP3. TBA on what Louis doing next week. If I let him in, Daddy might ground him. I'll let you know. Thank you so much for joining us. That sounded more sexual than it meant to be. I will see you later.